Hey everybody, welcome to the HIT.OR.DIE podcast with your hosts Jake Saldati and Chad Rothford. Here for another glorious episode. It's a college playoffs.
The NCAA regionals were a buzz over the weekend, as if there was no Major League Baseball going on, to be honest.
But Major League Baseball is still going on?
Yeah, way overshadowed.
Speaking of Major League Baseball, I read something. I don't know if it's true. Pat Ware retweeted it. It was about the Yankees signing Gallo because they see him more helping them long term than obviously Aaron Judge. They didn't say it, Aaron Judge, but if they sign Gallo to this contract, then Aaron Judge probably won't be signed.
The money went to Gallo. I saw that. I don't know if it was a satire account.
It better be. There's no way they think Aaron Judge.
I do think he's I think he's unrestricted in 23, so it could be Gallo.
But Judge is younger, and he's better.
I mean, I think it's satire. Because he's hitting at 167.
Yes.
I'm just saying. I saw it.
But he's been dealt a pretty shitty hand.
Yeah, well, and Stan's out now, and their outfield's a little. Yeah, oh, you're talking about Gallo. I got you.
Yeah. Gallo.
Me slow today.
Miso soup is good.
I did see that. I didn't check the source, and I could be a satire thing. I'm not sure, but that wouldn't make much sense.
No.
Not to why would you to extend a guy you traded for a year ago and gave prospects up for, to not extend your first round draft pick? But hey, baseball's
the face of your team.
It's a tricky game. Your possible AL MVP run right now. Who knows? Yeah. I don't know if that's a legit thing. But again, I didn't check the source, so I'll go back and look later. I did see it though. But yeah, college baseball was on fire this weekend. Like, no joke. Like, I literally paid no attention to anything Major League Baseball.
Yeah, agreed.
Zero. And
well, except for Donnie.
Yes. Yeah, hitting the grand slam.
Yeah. Well, and he got a pitching debut.
Did he pitch? I didn't even see that.
He pitched.
Damn it.
I was actually kind of disappointed that he didn't throw some sliders in there, because I know his dad would have called a bunch of sliders if he was calling the game. But no, he was pitched, which, I mean, even the National League Rookie of the Year was Gonzalez on their team, and I guess he had like 3 outings this month. Like,
for the month?
Yeah. Like, what? He's a hitter, but he had 3 pitching appearances this month. I just thought it was weird that they mentioned that in this thing too. Like, is that something to be proud of?
No.
Now? Like,
no. Well, you saw what happened with the Dodgers.
No, I didn't.
And Dave Roberts trying to bring in a relief pitch or a position player to pitch.
Oh, is that where by rule?
Yeah.
The
6 or more.
Which makes no sense.
And they were down by 5. It was 9-4 in the 9th.
But that makes no sense. Why can't you can bring
It's a rule. No, it is a rule.
It is a legitimate rule.
A legit rule.
Well, I guess it has to be.
That you have to be trailing by 5 or more, or 6 or more. I think it was 6, at least 6 or more. Yeah. But they like Robert said last year, they did that last year in the same type of situation, and it was allowed. So it looks like they're enforcing that rule this year.
I guess it depends on whoever the umpire is.
A lot's to delve into with the college baseball.
Yeah,
but before we go,
MLB.
Texas softball. Got to shout out Haley Dulcini, former Fresno State pitcher, transfers to Texas, and they're there. They're in the national final against Oklahoma.
She took a lot of shit for doing that, too.
She has. She graduated a Bulldog. Correct?
Yeah.
She gave everything she gave to this university. No, whatever. I'm happy for her.
I am too. Especially for like a team not even to be like, they went into that super regional in Arkansas and just like, I think as powerful as Arkansas was, they went in there and, blew everybody away. But I kind of was pissed off that they Haley posted a picture of like the other schools that got into the College World Series. They had a picture with like shirts, hats, and that big fake ticket,
ticket
punch. And they didn't have any of that at Arkansas for Texas, just in case they won. Like, it was already like a done deal. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I followed Arkansas softball. We do, with Courtney being the head coach and everything. She had a great season in their team, but like, to not have both, what is that?
Doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good.
It's a bad look.
So,
and to get one made at home by a fan, it was pretty cool. I love that they, they're using all of it, bro. They've used all of it, and now they're there.
Yeah.
And they're going to take on the Goliath, if you will. I mean, Oklahoma's seemed to bury a lot of teams. They lost the first one to UCLA and then got smashed in the second game. I think in 5 innings they got ruled. But just happy for her. She's an awesome person. She works her butt off, dude. Knowing her story from the podcast and just where she started and the goals and her work ethic, I'm happy for her. And I hope she gets it. I really do. And Coach Deifel's going to get hers. They saw they had like the #1 recruiting class this year. So hopefully, she can knock down a national championship pretty soon.
Get there, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
They haven't done it in the history of the schools. Yeah. So
had a good couple teams the last couple years to do it. And, but that's just the way the game goes sometimes, man. Baseball is no different, but I wanted to shout her out. I'm super happy for her and the team and pulling for the Longhorns here to win the Women's College World Series. Now, you had the regionals start this last weekend. Some entertaining finishes. Last night was one with the Stanford Cardinal and Texas State, who you predicted might win that regional. Having picked Stanford, you did say that they could be the team to beat, and they sure were. I mean, they went
2-0.
3 outs away, which is always the hardest 3 outs to get from being a regional champ. And, Stanford goes back-to-back to start the 9th. What were you thinking when you watched it?
Well, I mean, I texted you after the second homer. I don't know. I just honestly, with the way that everything's been going in the regionals,
not surprised.
I wasn't surprised. It was more like, wow, that just happened. But, like, stuff like this has been happening the whole entire time this last weekend.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole regional. It's just been crazy baseball. A lot of home runs, which I know that's what people want to see. Bad pitching. I don't know. I mean, I take it as bad pitching when you got teams scoring. I mean, a team scored 30 runs.
We'll get into it.
So,
I wasn't surprised. I got some numbers for all that, but you had some good performances. You had some offensive, just guys go crazy. You had some teams just play really well. There is no denying. We did see some bad baseball, just some bad things in general. And I was telling you before you got here or on the phone when we were talking, like, I've looked at it through 2 different lenses, right? One is a fan, and one is somebody who's been around it and coached it and, like, is very particular in the way we would practice or do certain things.
Yeah.
As the fan, I loved it. Like, I was entertained. Like, it was an entertaining weekend. You're right. And that's what the big league approach is. The home runs are there. It's exciting. You see some of the games and some of the things that went on. They were entertaining baseball games. A lot of emotion, stuff like that. And that other lens, I was kind of like, saw a lot of bad things too. And I see a lot of people talking about how good baseball was over the weekend. And I'm like, well, it depends on your definition of good. Was it entertaining? Absolutely. Absolutely. You cannot question that. And I enjoyed it personally. As a coach, I saw a lot of shit that's like, dude, it's not good. It's not good baseball. And, I know some people are indifferent. I don't like some of the hoopla or the showing up your opponent or team, and that's kind of where I wanted to start, because there were some things that happened that were questionable that people debated. I saw this stuff at Tennessee, and there's been debate back and forth of, was that a middle finger or index finger? I will say it looks like Ole Miss listened to the podcast and proved you wrong.
Yeah, well, Coach Bianco gave me a call this morning, and he told me that he appreciated me
lighting that fire.
I guess I had to get him going. I think he did have a speech with the team about the podcast that I think we might get video of.
Yeah, I'll work on
later.
it.
But yeah, they just came out and played. But you know what? I never said they were good.
No.
The fact
I know that
they're good. They've always been good. They were top, team in the country all year for the most part. Or, he does a great job over there. The fact is they just shouldn't have been there, And people are be like, oh, yeah, but they won it. Yeah, well, anybody could have won it. NC State might have won the regional if they were there. I mean, you don't know.
Rutgers.
You know what I mean? So it's just like, but did they go in and, prove a lot of people wrong that they should be there? Yeah, we're never denying the fact that they're not a good team. They just, by record, and you didn't even make the tournament, you probably shouldn't have been there.
That was the argument.
That was the argument.
Yes.
It was never that they weren't good.
Well, they showed up.
They showed up. Yeah. And they did,
Did what you're supposed to do. Right?
And I'm fine with them winning that regional.
No,
Who they beat in the final? Arizona?
Yeah.
22 to and
like 9.
How are you
Go ahead. No.
I just how do you give up 22 runs when you're a top 10 team in the country? But we saw it all weekend. Is that how bad? Okay, he throws 90-something miles an hour. Does it really matter? Does it really matter how hard guys throw nowadays? Obviously, it doesn't.
No.
When there was 1 million home runs hit this weekend and a gazillion runs scored this weekend.
It's exactly how it played out. Yes.
And it's just
you're sitting back and you're looking at these are the best teams in the country.
Well, yeah, and it's okay, I get hitting, I've been there, I've done it, but I thought we were supposed to have the best pitchers. I thought pitchers were supposed to be so much better nowadays. But if you can't throw strikes,
well, a lot of people,
and then you're behind the count, you got to leave a fatty over the plate.
I saw a lot.
It's gonna get banged.
Not a lot. I just had discussions with other people regarding the baseball.
Oh, the baseball is 100% juiced. I know you probably wanted me to say that, but
no, you're not. I heard it from other people. I've heard it from other people this week.
There were balls hit that I was like, oh, dude, just missed it. What?
It's gone.
It's 100 feet over the fence.
But did it? Either
guys hit more home runs in the 3 days of the regionals than they did the whole season.
Yes, yeah, I know. I saw some of those numbers.
I get it. And people are like, oh, well, before you question it, shut the F up. I've been there. I've been where these guys are. I've played in that atmosphere. So I understand the adrenaline, and sometimes you just play up,
sure,
and you play better. So I get that. Yeah, I totally get that. And I'm not taking anything away from the players.
I wasn't saying that or bringing that up.
The ball is juiced
to bring that up. I feel like what has everybody talked about over? Like I said, baseball, MLB did not exist over the weekend.
No.
So if it was good for the NCAA, your plan worked or whatever.
It worked.
You know what I mean? Everybody watched it.
It worked.
Everybody's talked about it. Everybody was tweeting about it. It was everywhere. College baseball. It's Tuesday and it's everywhere still, and it's got people excited. So if it worked. Good call. I don't know another way to put it. Right? I mean, is pitch? I mean, Well, I'll get you the numbers. I want to get into that. The one thing with Tennessee that we saw,
that was the middle finger.
You're on the boat of middle finger.
I'm on the boat. If you're not on that boat,
I'm just saying there were a lot of arguments.
If you're not on that boat, then you're a Tennessee fan. That. There's nobody in their right mind.
I thought it looked like a middle finger too. And I didn't see the game. All I could do was read comments.
Your hands are just different. Your hands are just different when you put up your fingers.
I didn't see the game. I could read the comments, and a lot of comments said I guess, was it Georgia Tech? Is that who they played? Georgia Tech or Wake Forest? It was Georgia Tech.
I don't remember.
That they had it coming or something happened earlier in the game. It was a retaliation type. I don't know for sure. But either way, like
it always seems like a retaliation to Tennessee.
yeah, that's true.
It seems like they're part of everything.
Well, ultimately, just send them home then, right? You don't need to do that. Just send them home.
They did go home.
I know that. So we don't.
You're the number 1 seed in the country. Do you need to do that?
Well, you're
expected to win.
You're being talked about as one of the best teams ever in college baseball.
Yeah.
So
they're so cocky, dude. It's unbelievable.
It's easy to root against them, right?
Like 100%.
There's how many states? Let's say there's 49 states rooting for Notre Dame this weekend.
Oh yeah, unless you're Michigan.
Yes, that makes I just I thought it was middle finger too. I just thought it was unnecessary. We've talked about the showboatiness, and I mean I don't know if you saw anything else you wanted to address over the weekend that was like too much.
Because a lot of it is.
Because I was thinking about that Louisville game in Michigan, and like the kid hit a 2-run jack to take the lead in the bottom of the 8th. It was a big moment. Like I wasn't like, oh man, it's a big moment. Like, I didn't really care. But then you see an ECU kid hits a home run after a kid from Coastal Carolina hits a home run and he pimps it.
Yeah.
And the umpire pushes the kid from ECU along, and I'm seeing a lot of people like, that's bullshit. I saw some of you put your hands on my player. If that was my player, we're having words.
I don't know. If I'm the coach, I'm telling him to run.
Yeah, I'm telling him to run. Go.
I'm not.
I didn't have a problem with it, personally.
As a fan, you don't. But as a coach, like, okay, let's go. Like, I don't know, dude.
Here's the other devil's advocate to that. You just see the kid swing it, hit it, pimp it, and the umpire shove him.
Mm-hmm.
Was there anybody on base?
I don't know.
Did we know? Like, does the umpire know for sure that ball's going out? Could there have possibly been a play at the plate? Get out of the way. There's a runner that could be coming in, because I saw 3 home runs.
Well, the umpires headed out. So
I saw 3.
They only head out if there's like
traffic,
some play going on or something.
I saw 3 over the weekend that weren't home runs that got pimped as if they were home runs. So in that situation, if there's a runner on base, maybe there's a potential play at the plate. The umpire's not screaming at the ball. The kid's, chasing or staring at the ball.
See, in the way
maybe he's moving the runner because there could be a play at the plate there. He doesn't know the ball's no doubter.
See, in the way I look at it is that happened after the Coastal one, and he does it, and he doesn't want any more crap going on. So he tries to push him along like, okay, let's go, get going. So then there's nothing towards the Coastal even more, and then more retaliation. I feel like that's kind of what he was doing. But that's my point of view. That's just how I feel. He was trying to have the situation not get escalated by letting him do whatever he was going to do, which honestly, he wasn't even going to pimp it as bad as the Coastal guy did.
No.
I mean, the Coastal guy pimped it. I don't know why he switched his hands with the bat 4 or 5 times before he threw it. But, I don't know. I mean,
I know you're holding back right now.
It's just like, no, like nothing is being done to these players for pimping home runs, or like nothing is being like, oh, dude, that just didn't happen though. Like when I played, and I hit home runs, and I hit the farthest ball I ever hit in my life in the Super Regional. And I don't know if it was to tie the game or go ahead. And when I hit it, obviously I knew it. But my instinct wasn't to pimp it and make the guy look bad. My instinct wasn't to talk crap running around the bases to their dugout or their first baseman or whoever. Like, my instinct was like, I'm going to get back to the dugout as fast as I can to celebrate with my team. Like, that was my thing. Like,
sure.
I pimped balls at Fresno City. Don't get me wrong. I pimped them, and I was a little, but that's our whole demeanor was a little different at Fresno City and how cocky we were and how we did things.
Well, Tennessee's cocky.
We were a little bit like Tennessee, but
so
probably better though. But
go ahead.
But when I got to the Division I level, it's just a little bit different though, like just the way things are. And then obviously professionally, it's just different. But I even said this story before when I hit a home run against Penn State, and it was the only one I pimped in Division I baseball. I didn't pimp any of my home runs. It was the only one I hit is because they yelled "by you" before this, and I hit a home run, so I pimped it. Obviously, it was the situation where I just was pissed and I did it myself. It wasn't the right situation to actually pimp a home run. It was like in the 6th or something. It wasn't like a big deal. But I remember crossing home plate, and my roommate Jake Halileo grabbed me by the jersey and said, "If I get hit here, I'm coming after you."
Right.
Not mad if he got hit by the other team, but mad because I showed up the other team. That doesn't happen nowadays. Nobody's being held accountable for their actions.
Well, it's like every home run is the moment, is a moment. That's not true. I mean, when it's 29-15, just run the bases.
And I know, like, act like you've done it before, all that kind of stuff, and I get it.
Some of it's fun.
Some of it is fun.
Like, I'm sorry, that Oklahoma State, some of those, I honestly, man, it wasn't all that bad. There were some that were bad. There was a lot of unnecessary, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, it didn't serve the moment to me.
Yeah.
And I mean, we even having Labby on here, he kind of said the same thing. Like, if the moment calls for it, dude, it's all good. But some of those weren't. You know, again, talking about the pitching part of it, and for me, that was the glaring spot. And so I had some numbers I was going to throw your way. Ready? There was 104 games over the weekend. Teams that scored 10 to 14 runs. Teams that scored 10 to 14 runs, there was 22.
22 games?
No, there's 22. Yeah, 22 games had between 10 and 14 runs scored.
Or 22 teams
scored
10 to 14 runs.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. 22. Teams that scored, there was 12 teams that scored between 15 and 19 runs. And there was 8 teams that scored 20 or more. Now, teams that scored 10 or more runs and lost, there was 3. Arkansas scored 10 and lost. Oklahoma State scored 12 and lost. Kennesaw State scored 11 and lost. And one team scored 15 runs and lost, and that was Missouri State. Out of the 104 games, 46 teams or 46 games had 10 or more runs scored from one team. There's about 44%. So nearly half the games had a final score in double digits. One team had double digits.
At least one team.
So, yeah, that's saying a lot about pitching. Nearly half. Focusing on the Stillwater Regional, which was probably the most electric for, I mean, there were some other regionals that were
Stanford
great.
was pretty electric.
Yeah, but I'm just saying Stillwater broke some records. 148 runs scored in 7 games, which averages out to like 21 runs a game, roughly. And I had 2 games in particular, just 2. We'll just talk about 2. Saturday, you had Arkansas and Oklahoma State. It's a 9-inning game. The final score was 20-12. There was combined 29 hits, 16 walks, 9 home runs, 17 strikeouts, 9 hit by pitches, 2 errors. That combined for 25 free bases. And that final, again, was 20-12 in a 9-inning game. Same regional, Sunday, Oklahoma State and Missouri State. The final was 29-15. 44 runs. 22 walks combined. 9 home runs combined. 29 strikeouts combined. 6 hit by pitches. How many errors do you think?
1.
0 combined. 28 free bases in that game. Between the 2 games, 18 innings. 76 runs, 38 walks, 18 home runs, 46 strikeouts, 15 hit by pitches. In 2 games.
And 2 errors.
And 2 errors. It's the best baseball. I mean, these are the best teams. So it was like I kept seeing good. It was good baseball. And it's like, it's not good. That's not good. Not at all. That Saturday, that's the second game of the regional.
Yeah.
This game 2.
Yeah, you have your Saturday guys on the bump.
After a week off?
Either your Friday or Saturday guy is on the bump.
And that's where the conversation about the baseball got brought up that I'd had. Because it's like, how is that possible? Oh, you got 2 of the top pro, Arkansas and Oklahoma State. Always nationally ranked. Always
arguably should have each had their own regional.
Yeah. Always in the postseason. And game 2 of the regional, this is it?
Yeah.
It just didn't make sense.
I mean, if you would have told me it was 5-3, I would have been like, yeah, that sounds about right.
I was blown away. But for the regional, in 7 games, 148 runs. I just kind of shocked by that. And so I started looking at other numbers. Like, and it's just just to have, like, just to see, just curious, like, how did 2022 play out? Where's the game headed? Or what happened throughout the season? And so looking at some stats in Division I. This is all Division I baseball, right? 64 teams get in the tournament. So I took some of the little things we always talk about that help win throughout the year, help win a championship, all that stuff, all the little details we talk about that takes to win. Division I baseball. Fielding percentage, right? Defense wins championships. Out of the 64 fielded teams for the postseason, there's 28 teams that ranked in the top 64 in Division I baseball. So, best being Texas with a 987 fielding percentage. Not too bad. But still, 28 teams. Less than half the field was tops in defense. Batting average. Right? Batting average, obviously, I've heard is a misleading stat at times. And yes, I agree with that. It can be. Out of the 64 teams again in the postseason, 29 that made the postseason are in the top 64. Number 1 being Georgia Tech. Again, less than half the field. Home runs. And I guess this is just where it's going. Out of the 64, 34 teams in the top 64 in the postseason, 34 were in the top 64 rank in home runs. Tennessee's number 1. Southern Miss was 2. UConn was 3.
All moving on.
But over half is the only stat I think that had more than half the field in it. Home runs. Sack bunts. Small ball, right? Manufacturing runs. There was only 14 teams that made the postseason in the top 64. So it's just kind of where the game's been going.
And there's a lot of opportunities for sack bunts.
14 teams playing in the postseason, and it made a regional, are in the top 64. And I think the first SEC school wasn't even in the top 30.
I know Stanford's in there.
Yeah, Stanford was in. Dude, they're not even in the top 50. Yeah, not one SEC school. Again, I whatever. They bang it. They like to bang it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, home runs was 36. What one did I give? 34. Sorry. ERA. 34 at the ERA. 36 teams led the country in home runs. It's just kind of where you see the game going. They talked about it too, offensively driven, and I get that. But does that surprise you?
No.
Does it bother you? Nothing you can do about it.
I mean, it doesn't. I mean,
we just talk about, like, people like to say that that's not true. That these, again, the best players to play the game or best players in a long time or the best. No, they're not. They hit home runs. That's the focus. The focus is home runs. That's it. And it's like all these coaches, they didn't change their philosophy overnight, did they? I mean, I guess it works, right? That's that big league approach where you see the number of manufacturing going on versus the number of home runs.
I think I think it's worse in the big leagues. I mean, there's guys in college that have better averages that still hit for power. I'm just more like, I just thought pitching would be better.
It's glaring. Definitely glaring. Like, yeah.
Like, I'm not surprised with the offense. I'm not surprised at all. I'm just with supposedly how hard people throw these days, which
what you were talking about earlier, like, it doesn't matter.
You can't throw strikes, or 2-0, 3-0, and you got to pump one. A hitter's going to hit.
So in D1 baseball, the 2022 season, I got some more questions for you, or a couple questions for you. Division 1, 2022. How many teams had a sub-3 ERA? How many Division 1? Now, out of 293 ranked teams, how many, and this is Division 1, out of 293, how many teams were under a 3?
10.
1. Tennessee, 2.38. How out of the, again, 293 teams were ranked Division 1 baseball. How many had a sub-4 ERA?
10.
16. 16 total teams that were under 4 in ERA. And obviously I had to go look at who was the worst. Not to, laugh, whatever.
Well, facts are facts.
Yeah, it's up there. I mean, Alcorn State was 293rd. Do you want to guess? 41 games.
7-6.
Over 41 games in the season. I'm sorry, 41 games is what they played exactly. 2-39 was their overall record. 293rd in ERA. Their ERA was not 7. 7 was middle of the pack.
No.
Yes. Alcorn State's ERA was 16.75 for the season.
I got some Fresno City guys that need place to play.
It's a Division I baseball program.
I got guys that need a place to play.
Their 2 wins actually on the season were Prairie View A&M and University of Arkansas Pine Bluff. Fresno State was almost in the top 100. If anybody wanted to know. Ks per 9 innings. Florida State had was number 1 for their pitching staff.
I know, because they had the number 1 pitcher, Ks, the lefty.
11.8 Ks per 9 innings. It's pretty good.
That's really good.
And the worst was Navy at 5.7. But 16 teams total, and that's including the Tennessee, under 4. So that's for the season. So what we saw over the weekend isn't kind of new for what college baseball had all year long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's if people were paying attention. And listen,
it was just more on a national stage.
Yes.
For everyone to see.
And I'll be the first to say I didn't follow enough. You followed way more college baseball than I did this year. And so I was when we were talking to Labby again, he's like, and so here's the deal. I told Labby I asked him these questions. He knew. He didn't even need me to he knew the answers. I was kind of like blown away. It's, whatever about the ball, I don't know. I don't want to take anything away from the players. Because some dudes.
Now I'm rethinking my ball status when the pitching's so bad.
That's awful.
I mean, but I did see some balls hit that I'm just,
Some dudes went off.
I mean, and then I sent you that video of the guy hitting bats.
The bats, yeah.
I mean, it was a TikTok video guy that's what he does.
It's the baseball bat bros or something like that. I've seen a bunch of their
takes bats
stuff.
And he hits with them. And he took a bat from 99, which was a -5. I want to say it's a -5 because I think when I got into high school it was 99, 2000.
I had
they went to -3. So, and it was a 108
exit velo after like 3 swings.
Yeah, and then he used bats from this era, and I think one of the DeMarinis
was from this year.
It was 108.5 or something.
It was 107.5. It was basically identical. Yeah.
So it's just like, I don't know.
Well, that's why I looked all this up to look at the ball debate that I was having.
I know the ball is definitely tighter than when I played. Because when I played, the ball is definitely tighter than when my dad played. Like that's over time. That's going to happen.
Same in the big leagues, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
the
going to
ball's
happen.
changed. So,
but how tightly wound is it? How big is the bouncy ball core? You know, that kind of thing. That's what you're going to look at. And I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either.
I know the ball is wound tighter though.
I know that in going into day 2, they had more home runs than they had in 2021 by like 30 or 40. A lot.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, maybe it is. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to be taken away from any of the players. Like I said, a lot of dudes had some good weekends.
We're not taking anything away from the players because guess what? Whatever we say doesn't really matter
because
it counts.
Sure. Yeah. But I mean, some dudes had legit weekends. Some dudes hit absolute monsters. Like it is what it is.
Yeah.
I was going to go back and look. I'm like, well, yeah, like you said, you see the pitching numbers, like, well, shit. No wonder offense is up because the pitching is not very good yet. Everybody, it seems, every big powerhouse Division I baseball program has all the pitching hoopla, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Those numbers are for everybody to see. It sucks.
And they have multi-million-dollar, analytics and all this kind of stuff. Like, bro, dude, you can't throw strikes. You can't pitch.
That's terrible.
Terrible.
I thought those were interesting numbers. That's, for me, I felt the same way about the ball debate. Like, whether it is or it isn't, I mean, after what we saw over the weekend, it makes sense when you look at those pitching numbers. You can go, I mean, it's for everybody. Go to NCAA website. You can look at all the stats. They categorize everything. It's all there.
Not the high school stats, though, right?
No, that's a whole nother argument that we kind of left that alone a little bit around here.
I know. I was just saying.
I don't know. I know some people. I've been communicating with some guys from Texas area and some other parts of the country. Like, do they? I want to know. Do you post your stats in the SAC section, like in Sac Joaquin and Sacramento? Is there stats up there? Like that was. I don't know what happened to that debate here in our area on social media, but
I don't know. I know there's a guy in Arizona that's supposed to be like a top rounder, and because my buddy Duffy, he always calls me, and he was talking about him. He hit like 15 homers or something, but he had 35 strikeouts. He batted .315. He's supposed to be like a top round draft pick. And I was like, because I'm in that MILB Facebook thing, and the dad of the kid always posts stuff, and everybody's like, oh, man, so like praising him and stuff. So I went and looked at his numbers, and I'm like, the dude bat .315 in high school. .315 in high school.
Well, yes, to that point, everybody needs to go look at the transfer portal right now. And and it's 2,000 kids, over 2,000 kids. Without it, it doesn't include the NAIA kids or D2.
Yeah.
If you're not the best player, like, you got to compete with these transfers.
Yeah.
How many D1s are going to start recruiting the portal?
They just started right now.
Freshman transfers. The kids after 1 year are leaving.
Dead period open today.
Well, you saw, was it Tommy Tanks is out. I mean, he's just one of obviously many. But if you're a high school guy.
I actually got phone with Tommy earlier today. He's coming to City for his sophomore year.
The word is he's going to Florida State. That's what I heard. Who knows?
Dang it.
Yeah. You got to compete with,
I tried as hard as I could. Fresno City Rams, Florida State Seminoles, a little different. But I did say he could have got drafted this year, Never know.
Yeah, that's one thing out of high school right now you have to look at. And if you're just not, like, I'm thinking, like, you have to be like Cutter Coffee-ish type numbers, I think.
Yeah. For high school.
Yeah.
To go play
like,
right
if you're not up there, you might be better off going JUCO.
But, dude, and I'm not knocking Cutter because I think he's a great player.
He is.
He's going to Texas. Where he might not play.
Right away.
Right away.
Yeah.
He's got to compete. Now, I hope he sticks it out or the draft goes good, whichever one. But if he goes to Texas, which I feel like he should because I think he will just get better being there. I mean, wouldn't you want to go learn from Tulo? So I feel like he'd be better going there, and I feel like he'd just stick it out, man. Like Labby said, did you hold your end of the bargain? Like, we're giving you your scholarship that we told you we're giving you. We never promised you playing time or anything. So did you hold your end of the bargain up to play? Now, on some situations that, you know, obviously there's different situations that people transfer, you know, we can understand. Like the Tommy Tanks thing, I just won't understand. I mean, doesn't matter if you stay there, you're going to get drafted.
We're saying in conference. I don't know if he's from Florida. I think that's one thing, too. He's
I don't know.
Going kind of back
It just
home.
doesn't make sense. Like when you put up that good of a year.
Well, somebody also said it doesn't pay to not make the tournament.
Well,
the interesting comment with the NIL stuff. That was one thing I saw. It doesn't pay to not be on TV right now. Look at that kid from Oklahoma State.
I guess Tommy Tanks shirts would be all over the place if he was in a regional.
I mean, he hit what, almost 30 home runs, 29 home runs. Or something
the Hispanic Titanic hit.
There
30.
you go. The kid from
I finally got it right. I was watching it last night.
I don't know. I just feel like too. You got to look at that. The transfer portal's huge, and these guys are going to go hit it. You know, what you thought you were or may have had, you may not have anymore. Just another thing to look at for the younger guys. Within the again, talking about the regionals over the weekend, there were a couple plays that happened, Chad, and one we've seen before. We saw it a couple years ago with was it the World Series? Trey Turner and the Nationals at Houston on a ball up the line. Maryland and UConn played yesterday, Monday, and you had an interference call. The runner was called out for running into the first baseman, having not been in the box, which is in foul territory, and the base is in fair territory. The play's happening behind him. I hate it all. I hate it. Even their coach, though.
He touched the middle of the bag.
Even the coach from Maryland is like, just because I don't like it doesn't mean it's not the rule. And as it was called correctly to the rule. This isn't the first time this has happened. I think we saw it in another college game. I've seen it in high school games. We saw it last year, I think. I forget where. I've seen it a few times. I mean, I'm not saying Maryland would have come back and beat UConn. I think the final was like 11-8.
Yeah, but the run scored on that.
Would have made it a 10-9 game with one out in the eighth.
Run on first.
With a runner at first base. Some momentum at
Instead,
home.
it was 10-8, 2 outs.
Nobody on.
Runner on third.
Or runner on third, right. Runner on third. You had to go back.
And he didn't score.
But you're at home, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how you...
Or it's like, if the first baseman is where he's supposed to be, he doesn't get hit, is the call even made?
Yeah, I mean, he was right in the center of the bag. like
a dum-dum.
I'm sorry, the runner's no idea what's happening behind him. He can't... You're asking him to adjust to the first baseman who didn't get on outside of the bag or the inside of the bag, which probably didn't even create a lane for the pitcher to throw to anyways. But I hated that call. You know, I've heard people arguing back and forth whether it's the rule or not the rule. As I understand it, and I've seen it called in the past, it was called correctly.
It's the rule. It just needs to be changed.
It does need to be changed. It does. Or like you, I think you said the last time with Trey Turner on this is put the softball base, put that orange base on the side.
Yeah.
Let him run through that. Like, again, your lane is in foul territory to a base that's in fair territory.
But when you're running from the box to first base, depending on where you are in the box, you're in fair territory or in foul territory. So when you're coming out of the box running, are you really looking down at where you're supposed to be running?
No.
Or are you looking at where the play is going on?
Typically, it's you're trying to periph where the play is.
Yeah. So I mean,
I feel like if you're within the bag, with a couple inches outside here and there.
I mean, he hit the center of the bag.
I know. I'm saying, like, I don't know how you make that call. That's a hard call to make for me, and with a lot of moving parts.
But by rule, he had to, I guess.
Yeah,
because then we're arguing the fact that he might have changed the game and didn't make the right call. I don't know. And Maryland comes back and wins.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. The umpire made the right call. It's just the call's a stupid call. It's just a bad rule.
I agree. Yeah, there definitely needs to be some changes to it, or I don't know what you do. But we've seen it, and it's not the first time we've seen it, and it's affected not outcomes, but it's affected in the moment or potential outcomes, right? I mean, like you said, we don't know what could have happened.
Or momentum.
The other one was Louisville and Michigan. the Cardinals were down.
I didn't see this one.
They were down 2 runs. I think it was 9-7 in the bottom of the 8th. And a guy, runner at first base, hits a double where he thought it was gone. He bat flipped the whole thing. Thought he got it. Didn't hit the fence.
Probably looked cool, though.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. But
that's what's important.
There's a great relay into second base. It's a close play. I thought he was safe initially at full speed. It gets challenged by Michigan. And you can go see it for yourself, and if you haven't seen it already, he looks out. And they were talking about it during the broadcast. Yeah, fingers went up. From what you see in slow-mo, from the one camera angle they had, he looked out, which would have ended the inning. It would have ended the inning. No runs scored. There's Michigan's up 2. They review it, and they stick with the call on the field, which was safe. To me, there was enough there to overturn it. Either way, they stuck with safe. Next guy, I think, gets down in the count a little bit. I don't remember. Singles to center field, scores both runs, tie game. And then the next hitter, I believe, hits a hanging curveball to make it an 11-9 game, 2-run shot in the 8th, 4 runs. And they close out Michigan in the top half and move on to a super. And Coach Backage, very, PC answer, and it is what it is. Had they called it the other way around, Louisville, people could be saying the same thing, And so, he took the right approach, I guess, in a confrontational approach, or not making excuses, which, probably right, considering they lost Sunday, I think 20-1. So, you were 2-0 in the regional to begin with, to going into Sunday. So it wasn't going to make excuses. I get that. But it definitely affected the outcome of the game. Did you see that one at all?
Mm-mm.
No? I don't know, man. I feel like if you're going to use replay, I'd love to know what they saw. And, that's the thing with umpires. You don't have to hear, they don't have to explain themselves. It drives me crazy. We had that here with our playoff game, against Clovis East. And there's no, it is what it is. It just ended the game, ended somebody's season. And I know some Michigan fans were hitting me up that were, don't follow the baseball all that much, but they're Michigan fans. But all in all, a fun weekend.
Would you even talk about the North Carolina Infield Fly?
No, I didn't bring that up.
Well, was it?
Yes, it was an infield fly.
Yeah, it was an infield fly. When a ball goes up, you're supposed to call that right away. It wasn't just a little, even a pop-up. It's infield fly.
To me, I didn't even question it. When I first saw it, and I'm like, well, I'd be arguing the same thing. Then you get tossed. And then you get suspended 2 games?
Yeah.
I'm thank God they're moving on. I didn't talk to anybody that questioned that being infield fly.
No.
Because the point of the rule is what happened, right? I don't know. It's a tricky game, Chad. Are you glad you're not an umpire? You're not an umpire?
No, I'd be great at it.
You think so?
Yeah.
People would give you shit, though.
Of course they would.
You're going to make mistakes.
The best way to take it is not even to act like it's not even happening. We've already had this. I've had so many people yelling at me playing. Whatever, dude. You're in the stands.
What's your zone?
My zone?
Yeah, what's your zone like? You ball off the plate. You give that ball ball and a half off the plate. What is it,
dude? I'm more of.
Are you super tight?
I'm tight. I'm a hitter's umpire.
Really?
Yeah.
You want to see all the nukes? You're the reason the ERA is so high.
No, not me. Learn how to fucking pitch. Excuse my language.
You're excused. What do you mean?
17 inches.
There were some I saw posted they were getting.
I'd give on the black to off a little bit, maybe. You miss that one sometimes, but I think the up and down one is what pisses me off. Is people taking a knee high fastball and thinking that's low. It's not low. Are people taking one? Remember when the letters were the strike zone?
Knees to letters. That's what I was always played with.
But now they're taking balls at the letters, and that's high. That's freaking get the ball out of here zone. You throw me one across the letters, I'm not taking that pitch.
So you're squeezing is what you're saying.
In and out, I'm tight. Up and down, I'm knees to letters, man.
Okay.
Like how it should be.
I might be a
You
little.
can't hit that pitch at the knees? You can't hit that low ball? You can't hit this one? If you can't hit that, if it's in the middle of the plate, since I'm not going in and out, if you can't hit that ball,
You're
you
saying
shouldn't
middle,
middle
letters high.
down, middle up. Yeah. Go put.
See, I'm probably a little wider. No. I want to see, expand it just a hair. I'm not seeing a lot. You wouldn't like my zone though.
I don't like anybody's zone.
I'd probably ring you up, and then we'd have to.
I wouldn't get 2 strikes. Not with you.
Yeah, you know my zone again. You're gonna have to go to town early. Brackets. We'll close with this, Roth.
Yeah.
Not so great. I think you were 8-8. You were 8-8. I was 9-7.
I'm fine with 8-8.
Not bad.
Half.
Yeah, not bad at all. Super regionals here. All right, so let's get into the super regional pick or picks. Sorry. We're going to start out in Cali, this Stanford, hosting UConn. Where are you going to go, Roth? Stanford. I'm also going to go Stanford. North Carolina is going to host Arkansas. Where are you rocking that one?
As sad as I'm to say it, Pig Suey.
You're going to Arkansas? That's after that regional, it's kind of like, did that take anything you think took out of them, or that gave them some?
Dude, they got a week.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And I'm looking at the regional.
I took Arkansas also.
I'm looking at the regional. Who did North Carolina really play compared to the Arkansas regional?
I mean, Georgia had one where they put up 20.
I know, but compared to that regional,
No,
like the situations Arkansas
the roller
was in,
coaster of emotions of that Stillwater regional were second to none.
Crazy.
Yeah, second to none. I'm also going to Arkansas. Southern Miss going to host Ole Miss. I actually like this matchup. But again, I'm staying Southern Miss.
Well, after Coach Bianco and I had the really good heart-to-heart conversation, I'm going to go with Ole Miss.
Okay.
So they're hot right now.
First one were different. This one surprised me, and I don't know why, but Auburn is going to be going to Oregon State. And Auburn laid it down over the weekend. And I'm going to take Auburn at Oregon State.
I'm taking Auburn, too. I thought it was in Auburn, but I'm still going to take them.
This is one that...
I don't know, though. They're traveling all this way. It's a far travel.
Hey, they got a week, though. Got a week, gaining an hour or a couple hours, few hours.
They'll probably be here today. They're probably in Oregon today.
Maybe. Virginia Tech hosting Oklahoma, who's hot. You sticking with Oklahoma?
Boomer Sooner.
Okay.
Look at that regional.
I know. And I picked Virginia Tech, and I'm gonna stay at Virginia Tech. But Oklahoma's hot, no doubt about it. No doubts about it.
Yeah.
Texas A&M at Louisville.
A&M.
I also went A&M. Texas at East Carolina. Another fun one. I went Texas.
Hispanic Titanic, baby.
Bro, I'm liking the road. Right? Is it at Texas or is it at East?
No,
East Carolina is the 8 seed, right?
Yeah.
8 overall. Yeah. So Texas at East Carolina. So I'm taking another road team, and then the one that we'd already discussed, Tennessee hosting Notre Dame. Now, Tennessee had the number 1 ERA. I think Notre Dame was 4th in the country. So you're going to see some arms. I don't know. I mean, Tennessee's pretty good, man.
I know. I put Tennessee.
I put Tennessee also.
I just don't think Notre Dame has the bats.
It's fair. I mean, Tennessee, dude, there's no question that they are the best team in the country. As thus far, to where we're at now. I don't think you can argue they're not. I don't think anybody would.
Yeah.
Whether you like the shit they do on the field or, you know, the antics, it doesn't take away that they're a good ball club.
Yeah.
Moving on. Okay. So we'll have to break it down again when we get through the weekend into our College World Series picks, maybe some other stuff. But, again, you got super regionals this weekend. Going to be a lot of fun.
It is going to be a lot of fun.
I bet you're going to see maybe a little better pitching.
I don't know. Are you?
Maybe not. The season, if we're looking at the course of 2022, maybe not. But you do have some of the top pitching the staffs still playing.
Yeah.
So you could see a couple duels here and there. Who knows? Like I said, I don't think anybody expected to see the explosion we saw over the weekend. Again, it made it for a fun weekend. I personally enjoyed it. And I also watched Texas, Oklahoma, softball women's College World Series. Hopefully Haley Dolcini can get it done and finish her career a freaking champion. That'd be so awesome, dude. But it's another episode of the Hit.OR.DIE podcast. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Go download, share it, go to YouTube and subscribe. Or if you're here watching, subscribe. And on Twitter at Hit.OR.DIE podcast, on Instagram at Hit.OR.DIE. That's Hit.OR.DIE podcast.
Hit or die.